with asking you about the death penalty first. As you know, with the stay of Edmund Zagorski this week, that issue has absolutely been front and center. As governor, decisions about the death penalty will be one of your most important responsibilities, arguably. Other states have moratoriums on future executions, citing concerns over not only how to carry out the death penalty, but DNA evidence that can overturn convictions. Is it time, in your estimation, for these humanity concerns to be resolved first before executions continue? Mr. Dean, I'll start with you.
Well, I think the death penalty comes through our democratic process, and there are lots of legitimate concerns about the death penalty. There's concerns about the cost, there's concerns about racial fairness and how it's imposed, there's concerns about whether there can be additional evidence down the road that would mean that the death penalty was inappropriate in a specific case. All of that is available information that should be debated and discussed, but that is ultimately up to the people of Tennessee, and it's up to our legislature. And as governor, I would follow the law. Obviously, there are times when you'd be asked to consider evidence and additional information for commutation, and I would take that responsibility very seriously. I would not look forward to it, but I do believe that's part of a governor's role.
Mr. Lee, what are your thoughts on this? Time to push the pause button, perhaps, on executions in Tennessee?
You know, these are very difficult decisions, of course, that have to be made one at a time and one governor at a time. And they're very difficult. We do have a criminal justice system in this country that is the best in the world. And we do have the law in this state that allows for the death penalty, which I think is appropriate in the most heinous and egregious of crimes. I don't think that it would be my place to replace my judgment for the execution of justice through the criminal justice system, unless that there is a circumstance where that system has obviously got a failure in it because of some circumstantial evidence that came up later. But I wouldn't be one that would move toward replacing the system with my judgment.
Mr. Dean, to follow up, if you were to sign off on carrying out an execution, would you be willing to witness one to fully understand the process?
Well, I would be willing to do that. I don't know if I would commit myself to doing that and making it necessarily a part of the process where the governor has to be there. I will say, though, that in terms of reviewing sentences, there are many things that could occur, such as proof of innocence, a change of the heart in the victim's family that becomes an extraordinary thing, and that has occurred at times. Or you could have a remarkable change in terms of the defendant's life. All of those things would have to be considered, but the bottom line is you got to follow the law.
Mr. Lee, your thoughts on that? Would you be willing to witness an execution to understand the full process?
Yeah, I would be willing to do that. I would want to make that decision when the time came for me. That would be a very difficult decision as well, but to understand the process better, that'd be something I certainly would consider. And I do agree that there are opportunities in the future potentially where there's a change of circumstances or evidence, and that would mean that you have to look at the case again. But again, that really is up to the criminal justice system and not up to a governor.
All right, thank you. Katina gets the next